All right. So, a very good evening to one and all present here in the session. On behalf of AI Academy by Getwork, I'd like to welcome Surbhi Saraswati. Surbhi Saraswati, a seasoned HR professional with deep experience in talent acquisition, onboarding, and employee engagement. Surbhi brings a strong voice in organizational culture and people strategy, uh, regularly sharing her insights on HR trends, recruitment best practices, workplace growth on LinkedIn, where she engages with a large professional community. So often I see her posts that reflect a lot of passion for what she's doing and for building high performing teams and celebrating consistency, teamwork, and professional development. So I welcome you here, Surbhi, today on behalf of AI Academy by Getwork for a very special session, which actually helps my student understand the transition from one domain to another domain. Right? You're coming from a very different background currently in the human resources field. So I really appreciate and thank you so much for being part of this wonderful session.
Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me for this session. And it feels great to be here and sharing the journey, how the transition has been from one domain to the other. So
Right.
I'm really glad and happy to be here.
Right. Thank you so much. All right. So I'll begin with from the very beginning because I was scrolling through your LinkedIn profile and everything. So let's start that, you coming from an MCOM background, right? To not like a proper HR, right? And coming from an MCOM background to a HR, it's not a very casual shift that anyone could make. So what was happening in your life or your career that made you question your path or you wanting to move from not from a finance domain, but yes, a little bit of a commerce domain to the human resources field?
Yeah, so transitioning from MCOM to HR, it wasn't a sudden decision. It was a thoughtful one. So MCOM gave me a strong, understanding of business and finance, but I was more excited towards how organizations grow in terms of talent, how team works, how leaders influence culture. So I was more keen towards that. So I started seeing HR not as a supportive role, but something into a strategic role that connects people with business goals. This is the transition from MCOM to HR. And this is the point, where I felt that this transition was good for me because I was more interested towards performance and how, people careers.
All right. So very wonderfully said that, a lot of time it happens that whether we talk about, freshers or even professionals, they consider human resources as a very, like just uh, you know, um, a recruitment type of a role. But human resources is definitely like a vast field. So that's, conflicting. So while changing that domain, right? And at a very nascent age in your life,
Yeah.
right? Sometimes the decisions that you take are not very good. Sometimes the decisions that you take can probably be a little regretful later. So, was there any kind of fear, like switching your career midway, because it's not that easy?
Yeah, of course, there was a fear, but I was upskilling, I was seeing through videos and other platforms also. So I had a lot of questions in my mind whether I'll be starting from zero or how things will work. Would I be starting from scratch again? But then upskilling myself, I realized something very important. It's rather upskilling myself and moving towards a career for which I'm excited and I'm happy, or just to come from an MCOM department or MCOM background to stay in that. I'm not happy in that particular thing. So the fear was there, but it overcome with time when I realized, that I'm being happy with the things that are into HR, how people work and how everything will go. So yeah, that there was fear, but at the end, it is where you're happy and where you can give your best. It is more important than that fear at that particular time.
Right.
That took that took time. Obviously, when there is fear, we have a lot of questions coming up in our mind. But at the end, where you are happy and where you can perform better, and you know that you can do good or give good in that particular field. So it is important to realize it. at the earliest and move towards it.
Right, I think very rightly said. And often when I interact with the student, this is the question I get that, I'll be switching from one domain, particularly I get this question from switching from a sales domain to the HR domain, right? Now, again, like you mentioned that MCOM was, yes, of course, about finance, but it also taught you a little bit of an understanding of how things work. Likewise, when someone is switching from a sales department or a sales team to an HR team, definitely there is a question कि यार कैसे करूंगा. तो मैं उनको हमेशा ये बोलती हूँ कि जब आप सेल्स में कस्टमर से इंटरैक्ट करते हैं, राइट, तो एक इंटरैक्शन फॉर्म होती है, एक आगे की स्टोरी बनती है. लाइकवाइज ह्यूमन रिसोर्सेज में भी आप जब रिक्रूटर होके अपने कैंडिडेट से बात करते हो तो वहां पे भी एक स्टोरी होती है. सो इट्स जस्ट दैट the process probably remains the same, and it's just a little different of difference of the work that you do, right? So I think, yeah, very rightly said. Okay, somewhere in your answer you also mentioned about upskilling, right? So again, as AI Academy, we also do upskilling courses, and this is a very I say this to everybody, that I was reading this article which says that by the year 2030, India will have the largest working population in the whole wide world with very limited jobs. And then the next question comes up is that how do I stay relevant? Yeah. How do I stay on toes, especially when there are, so many, I would say like so many jobs not being there. So when you decided to move to HRM, right, what was your first step, right? Now, when we talk about first step, when we talk about upskilling, what I tell my students, or as part of what, the edtech platforms do, is we give them a proper journey, like a, student journey to do with. Now, with you, right, stepping into HR, were there random YouTube videos, or you followed a structured learning path, or you yourself upskilled through a certification? Because I'm sure you did a certification as well. But prior to that, कुछ तो आपने ऐसा किया होगा जो आपको लगा होगा कि HR is interesting, इसमें मैं कुछ सीखती हूँ, आगे जाती हूँ, तो this would be better for me.
So honestly, I didn't jump straight away to any YouTube videos or any random videos. It was, my first step was to basically understand that what HR actually involves. It is not just the title, or, it is not just anything related to recruitment or talent acquisition. It is more than recruitment and more than talent acquisition. And I just wanted to know that what is the real work behind it. Basically, people confuse HR with ki inke paas, they don't have any work. Yeah, they just do Rangoli or they just do events. It is more than that events. It is more than that Rangoli making, which usually people, that way. So I started with structured learning to build clarity on the fundamentals, like things like recruitment, employee engagement, performance management, and labor laws. So I went to those structured learning, how things work, and how do we start end-to-end recruitment, how employee engagement is done, how people, how do we analyze the performance of a person. So it was all around it. And I wanted to make my base strong first, and then, start with the YouTube videos or any kind of other certifications that are there all over the platform. So this is how I structured myself.
Great. So, Survi, I have a question from one of the students who says, ki, what do you suggest that if I have to do an HRM course, like मुझे course पहले करना चाहिए या मुझे जैसे आपने कहा articles, videos, podcast देखने चाहिए so that पहले मैं interest देखूं कि मैं कर सकता हूं कि नहीं? What is your say in this?
My say in this is, firstly, the student or whoever if they want to switch their career from specific domain to HR, or they are starting with HR, they should learn the base that HR is more than recruitment, more than talent acquisition. It is more into strategic role also. How you can upscale yourself in performance management, in operations, whether it is payroll. It is more about that. So once the person or the student knows that they are good like they are interested for recruitment or into talent acquisition, or they want to go forward with payroll part or the operations part. So they just need a clarity in that, in whichever thing they are interested. Accordingly, then they can go to some articles, they can do some certifications related to that, or they can go up to some YouTube videos, or they can connect with any HR professional. Uh, They have a lot of options. So firstly, the clarity on which side of HR, they are more interested into. This is what I have felt in the experience or the things I have basically.
Right. I have another very funny question. Rather, I don't know whether I should take it up or not, but I'll still take it because students हैं तो उनके दिमाग में ऐसे questions रहते ही हैं.
Yeah.
So this person actually means to say लिखा तो उसने बहुत कुछ है, but I'll cut it short. He means to say that whenever we approach on recruiters on LinkedIn, 80% of the time the recruiters don't reply back. Right, ma'am, what is the reason that why you don't reply to us on LinkedIn? This is what they're trying to say basically.
See, the reasons can be many, but coming to the genuine reason, like as a recruiter, a person gets ample of applications all over, be it LinkedIn, be it through emails or any other platforms where the recruiter or the HR is, basically posting. So there are ample of applications over there, and sometimes the resumes or the CVs of the freshers that we receive, they forget to paste the subject, or sometimes they paste the mail body in the subject. So at that moment only, sometimes the recruiters don't even think of going to that particular resume, because a subject should be clear, first of all, and the mail body cannot be a subject, whether that's a fresher, whether that's an experience. And this case is not basically with the freshers. Sometimes the experienced person also do that, and that may be the one reason, HRs don't even go to that particular resume or that particular profile. There might be more reasons, but I think this is the thing which I have crossed.
Agreed. So again, while my interaction, or even there are a couple of resumes, and as an L&D professional, even I go through these profiles. The first and the foremost thing, which is a flop show for me also, is the name of the file. It's very, very basic, right?
Yes.
It's very, very basic, Surbi, for me to probably even making my resume on some XYZ, website or any XYZ tool, and then downloading it by the name of 12345. I don't even open the file if I receive something like that. So, that could also be one of the reasons.
Yeah.
Right. So, as you mentioned in one of your answers, that HR is not about Rangoli, as there are a lot of reels, there are a lot of things that we talk about revolving Rangoli and all. But if I have to ask you today, what was the biggest myth about HR that you had, right, that got broken during your upskilling or your professional journey?
The biggest myth was like, whenever, I used to hear about HR, or whenever I used to scroll or, ask people regarding HR, it was like, it is just a supportive role in an organization. But when I studied regarding HR, and when I moved in HR, and currently I am into employee engagement, recruitment, in operations. So it is more into strategic planning also. We have to see the budgeting, we have to see the cost per hire. So there are a lot of things. So a myth that it is just a supportive role, I don't believe it. Though I'm not saying it because I'm an HR professional, but coming to the reality or on the ground of an HR, it is not just a supportive role. It is more into planning, more into strategic part, decision making. There are a lot of things. Sometimes, we have to take few calls or few meetings or few decisions, which we believe or which we might think, that things can be done this way or that way. So there are a lot of things regarding strategic planning or decision making, coming to budgeting, whether we are hiring for an intern or we are hiring for a 5+ year of experience in any domain. So this is, what I think.
Great. And I think I agree with you that, be it any role, not just HR, it's just that as much it's just the, drop in the ocean. There's a wide ocean that we have to probably look after. All right. So, hopping on to the next question, is that when did you realize, right, for yourself that, after having understood like the entire information about HR that you went through, probably the upskilling that you went through, or probably even going through, that,
Yeah.
okay, the transition is actually working for you?
So when I had my first interview, so basically I was not saying there that I come from a finance department or a finance background and I want a job in HR. It was like I got a call. They asked me about few things related to how calls are done on recruitment, how things go, how budgeting is done. So I had the clarity about budgeting, how things can be done that way. And secondly, I felt that thing right when I was in a meeting when I got selected and I was a part of the HR team. We were in few discussions. I was just not into the listening thing. I was someone who was speaking there, having a discussion around whatever the topics and everything was there. So that is the point, where I felt that this transition is working for me. Though it was not in a short time of span, it took me time. Obviously, it takes time for anybody. But yes, when it hit me that this is a good thing and this transition is working for me, I felt really very good. The first fear I had time when I was, upgrading from finance to HR, that fear just vanished at that particular time.
Great, great, great. So again, one part of it is it's not just listening, it's also about contributing to what's being told. I have another funny question in the chat box, which says that a lot of people keep pestering to learn Excel, right? MS Excel. So the student says that, is it really important also for an HR to learn Excel?
Excel is something which you should know. And if I talk about today's time, in colleges also we have few things that are done on Excel. So having an Excel or learning an Excel is a plus plus for any type of job, whether it's an entry level job or it is a a level of job which is very director level, we can go or a mid level. So yes, Excel is mandatory for HR also because sometimes you have to maintain the data in Excel.
I think data is bread and butter for everyone. So mind it that, I keep on saying that Excel is going to be your bread and butter. For me,
Yes.
I always say, and I've been saying this for a couple of days now, and my team here, whosoever has joined, they've been listening it in and out. But back in the year when I did my MBA, nobody told that Excel will be the bread and butter for yourself. And we didn't actually take it seriously that, okay, Excel सीखनी है, क्या है, numbers ही तो हैं, कुछ नहीं. But that Excel is so wide, right?
Yeah, it is very
When
vast.
I started learning from basic Excel, and I'm still not very good at it, and I still accept it because the ground reality is nobody told us that. But with students here, with everybody who has joined us, today, Excel will any day be your bread and butter. So I think
Yes,
it's high time that you
and
start.
yeah, and it is very vast. The more we go deep into it, there are a lot of more areas, which we'll get that we have not covered it. So yes, it is a right time to start exploring and learn Excel.
Right, right. All right. We've been talking about your upskilling in HR. So, like, I'll kind of reframe this question in a way because अगर एक स्टूडेंट है जो सेल्स बैकग्राउंड से आता है वो एचआर का कोर्स कर रहा है मेरे पास, ठीक है, जब वो इंटरव्यू के लिए जाता है तो ही आस्क्स मी दिस क्वेश्चन दैट व्हाट इफ द रिक्रूटर आस्क्स मी व्हाई फ्रॉम सेल्स टू एचआर. ठीक है, सेल्स से एचआर का ट्रांजिशन क्यों लिया, वो आप फर्स्ट आंसर दे चुके हैं, राइट? बट द क्वेश्चन इज दैट डिड दिस बैकग्राउंड ऑफ योर्स इन एमकॉम एक्चुअली became an advantage in your HR journey, right? जैसे मैं सेल्स का जब उनको बोलती हूँ कि आप सेल्स में भी इंटरेक्शन करते हैं, एचआर में भी करेंगे. सेल्स में फोरकास्टिंग करते थे, यहाँ पे आपके पास हायरिंग होगी अगर आप रिक्रूटमेंट्स में जाते हैं. तो like it's not, but I'm just trying to blend this question in a way that did your background become an advantage while your HR journey?
Yes, it became an advantage, I may say, as I mentioned earlier, that HR is something which we move towards budgeting. Because if I talk about recruitment or if I talk about talent acquisition and we are hiring for any kind of role, there is a cost over there. Cost from screening till the person joins us,
Yeah.
and till the person is with us, there is a cost for every step that we have, right?
Very
So
true.
finance helped me how to take a good decision when we are starting with the sourcing part, or when we are deciding the budgeting of that particular role for whichever for which role we are hiring. So yes, any day finance helps us, and finance is mandatory, I think, in every field, because budget comes with every field and everything. So yes, it helped me a lot.
Great. All right. Very true. Very rightly said. I have a question which I'd like to take up. And this is a question which I get like really often. And because I say it, they feel that, this is not coming straight from the horse's mouth. So today we'll listen directly from the horse's mouth that does recruiters also have targets? And I'm sure you do for closing some number of hirings that you have to do. So please answer that question.
Yes, recruiters do have targets. There are few domain or few sectors which don't have targets, but mostly yes, we do. Back of the mind, we do have target that if for example I'm hiring for an X profile, I have to close it. I have a tag for it, because why? Because if I'm, for example, I'm into an IT services, right, and I'm hiring for a particular profile, there is a project onboarded, there is a sales team who is getting the project, there is a project delivery partner who has that project aligned, and we don't have a resource. Now comes the this thing, the target, we can say target, or a pressure that we have to close this particular profile in a limited time. So indirectly or directly, yes, we do have targets in HRs, and we have to complete it, or we have to hire that person in that particular time frame that we have got.
Right. Thank you so much for answering that question. And I hope they take it seriously now, because otherwise they feel कि HR में targets नहीं होते, सिर्फ sales में target होते हैं, which is actually also a myth, the biggest myth that they think.
Yes, it is. HR indirectly or directly have targets.
Right, right. So I'll move a little to, like career building in HRM, right? Whenever I, being an L&D professional with a couple of years of experience, we talk a lot about resumes, we talk about soft skills, right? We talk about all these things that are required for you to probably crack an interview. Let's just be honest that everybody who, does upskilling, or anybody who's still wanting a career is looking for a job, or probably, even their own business. But, there's one thing which remains common across everything, if I have to say, and that's confidence, right? So I'm sure that, you were confident then, you were confident today, you'll be confident. And confidence, I always say, is a skill. It can be learned. Nobody is born confident. It's just a matter of time. But while upskilling, right? Because I'm more focused about upskilling, because that's what I'm helping students do. So how did upskilling change your confidence level?
To be honest, upskilling, as I mentioned earlier, that I started from the scratch. I learned what exactly HR is. And when I came to know that HR have a lot of domains, right? So that helped me gain confidence, because I knew in which part of HR I wanted to land. Though I started with the recruiter, then I softly transitioned into operations. Now I'm into payroll also. I'm managing payroll also. So confidence comes with a lot of knowledge. Like, for example, if somebody is starting from scratch, or they are, transitioning their careers, they should have a good knowledge regarding the same. When they have a good knowledge, they have every aspect clear in their mind, the confidence automatically comes. Because when we are sitting with 10 people and we have a knowledge about whatever is happening in that particular room, we are confident over there. And if you don't have any idea, or we are not clear, or the thoughts are not clear regarding the same, obviously the person lacks in confidence. So what I believe personally is confidence comes with when the things are clear in our mind, and when we exactly know that this is what we actually want to do. There is when the confidence comes.
Right. So you're equating confidence with preparedness, which is wonderful. Right. Now, the masses of audience that has joined today with us is that, they are probably sitting in a job today, tomorrow, any day, right? So for someone sitting in a job today, maybe
Yeah.
unhappy but confused, what
Hmm.
would you tell them?
Firstly, what my suggestion would be, or if somebody comes up to me and asks me the same question personally, what one thing firstly they should know why they are unhappy, what exactly they want, whether that is a fresher, whether that's an experienced person. If they are not happy with what they are doing currently or in whichever domain they are, and they are not happy in that, they should start. They should not quit there and then, because we need something, right? So they should start upskilling quietly and silently. They should do research in whichever domain or in whichever department they are interested. They should build a network around that very silently and very quietly. And they should upskill themselves. They should do some certifications, or they can just do a few courses. We have a lot of courses there on the internet today. So they should do a few courses and research. Basically, they should research about the things that they are more likely interested for.
Right, right. So, Surbhi, I just have one question for you, which I will ask, but there is someone in the chat box who says that, we are talking a lot about HR analytics nowadays,
Yeah.
right? So, how relevant it is? Will HR be completely replaced by AI, or how? I mean, what are your comments on HR analytics as a professional yourself?
HR analytics is something which is very underrated at the moment, which I believe. But HR analytics is something which we can look up to, and which we are actually looking up to. AI or HR analytics cannot take away the job of the HR, because the human touch will be missing, right? Human resource is like the first word is human, right? So when we don't have that touch, we don't have that empathy with anybody, that human resource does not justify. This is what I believe. And HR analytics is probably, the future, and a skill which is looked up on. Somebody, as I am an HR professional, or somebody, I have few friends also who are looking up to HR analytics, and they have done few courses of HR analytics, which are helping them in their current, role, and in transitioning them, promoting them, whatever we say. But yes, HR analytics is something which I believe as an HR professional, which is very important for any person who comes from the same background for them.
Great, great. All right. So my last question, Surbhi, to you would be that, what specific skills would you suggest that will be a game changer for anyone doing an upskilling in human resources?
As I mentioned earlier, upskilling, just know what you want, know the core fundamentals of HR, know what exactly HR is, how you can upskill yourself, in which domain you can do better. Sometimes I've come across a lot of HR professionals when I was, hiring for HR, or when I was giving interviews, that some people are very good while pitching to the candidates, or while connecting with the candidates. Few people are good with the policies, few people are good with the payroll. So they just need to know in which particular, thing they are good, and how things can work from them. Accordingly, things can be done.
All right, wonderful. So I think that was it from my side, and I don't see any questions as of now in the chat box. But thank you so much, Surbhi, for sparing your time and giving us a clarity as to how a career transition in just one particular domain can help you become a better professional, not only for yourself but of course for the organization and everything. So thank you so much for being with us here today, and thanks for the lovely audience who joined with us today. But I think more stress would be on thanking for, because I know you were running on a really tight ship and I kept running behind you for so many days that we have to do this, we have to do this. But again, I think it's wonderful that we did this today, and we'll keep on having such engaging sessions in the future as well. So thank you so much.
I am very glad I was here. Thank you so much for inviting me. And I hope I, could add few good pointers to the students and the audience that have joined us. And I'm really thankful for that. that. Thank you so much.
Did. Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone. Thank you so much for joining, Surbi.
Thank you so much.